Everybody, we are back. It's another episode of Tape Don't Lie. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Check us out every single week. We're back with the with the review. I'm sorry, of the Week 10 win against the Broncos. Blowout, 37-12. Put them down. Easy, easy, easy peasy. So definitely a great game to watch. Definitely a relaxing Sunday. That's what I tweeted out. It's very relaxing. Didn't have to. No, my blood pressure didn't go up. Nothing like that.
It's a
So
weird, it's a weird feeling, isn't it? Not having the game come down to the wire. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Had a couple of them this year so far, so I'm good with that. You know, that was my biggest gripe about 2016. I know everyone always likes to talk about 2016 Raider season, but I'm like almost every single one of those games came down to the wire. Like a few bounces in the wrong way, that's like an 8-8 season. You know what I'm saying? So people get upset at me when I say that, but I just felt like there was too many close ones in 2016.
Too many, bro. 2016 was terrible, bro. It's like it was all hard.
Yeah,
It was like all blood pressure, bro. Like,
yeah, it was
come on,
all
give me a
blood
break
pressure,
for on
right?
Sunday.
It
The
was
Bucks
all
game was the
blood
worst,
pressure.
bro, because the Bucks weren't even good, and they were just like messing around with him the whole game. Awful, awful, awful,
Yeah, it
awful.
was like always like some clutch play at the end. Seth Roberts would do something, or Khalil Mack had to strip the quarterback at in the fourth quarter, to seal the win. It was like, yeah, blood pressure to the roof that season for sure. But some of these ones are much more convincing. We talked about this last time. You want to be viewed as a real contender. You have a winning record, Raiders. So what do you do when you play a team that has a losing record? You put them away, right?
Hmm.
So that's what they did. So victory week feels good. It feels good to beat the crap out of a team that's not that good. That's not very good. Gotta love it.
Hmm.
You know.
I love it too, man. Just beat them down. You know what I mean? Just beat them down. So, um, it was it was nice. It was very nice to watch. I was very excited. Definitely some good performances too from a lot of good players. We saw a lot of good defensive performances. So I mean, the offense was pretty good. I mean, they did miss a lot of opportunities. This game could have been like 50. It's 5-12.
Right.
They really wanted it to be. So, it's it was just refreshing to watch. I mean, that's all I really got to say about it. It was super refreshing, and it was good to watch the game and make and they look like a really good team at this point. They got a great matchup this week, so we're going to see how that looks. You know what I mean?
Obviously, going up against the Chiefs the second time after the Raiders beat them the first time, and then Andy Reid coming off of a bye, definitely gonna be the you know, toughest test that they're gonna have this season.
Yeah.
Um, but win, lose or draw, I just want to see the same fight that they had. You know, against the Browns in the bad weather. Being the better team in that situation, rising to the occasion in the fourth quarter, game on the line, closing out the game. Isaiah Johnson not flinching, and then this time, just beating the crap out of the Broncos. There's a lot of fight, so that's all I want to see. I just want to see a game where they're in it all the way and they're fighting to the end. That's all I care about seeing. So win, lose or draw.
Exactly, bro. And you gotta you gotta love it. You gotta love it to me. So all right, let's just get into it, bro. Let's get into this offense. See what we got here. See what we saw. Cover a couple players that had a really great performance. Brandon Parker definitely had the game of his life here. So let's go ahead and start with my boy here, who I kind of trashed last week, but it's okay. He bounced back. He had probably like I said, the game of his life, and he was, you can tell he's way more natural at left tackle than he is anywhere else, right? So, um, you got that, boom, right? Look at that. The guy tries to chop. Watch him reset after the chop. So the guy tries to chop his hands down, then he resets, gets his hands back on it, right? That's awesome. That's an awesome set from Brandon Parker. You know what I mean? Like that, just the countering, the resetting of his hands, watching slow motion. See, strikes, guy tries to chop at his hands. He's able to reset, get both hands back inside. Awesome technique. That was it's just a great rep. And as you're going to see more and more in this as we keep going through this tape. All right. So um, here's another one. This is one against Bradley Chubb. This is another great rep here. His hands are a little high, but I mean he's a tall guy, right? So his hands can be high, but you like his base, right? He's not too way too high, but he still has a good bend, and he's able to just take him around the corner, knock him to the ground, open up a hole to the B gap for Derek Carr. Boom, right? So so we see it once again in slow motion. Here's another great rep. Right, you see, so I'm saying he's a little high, but you love his base, man. You love his base. He's balanced, right? And you can really see his athleticism right now. That's what I love about it, is that you could see his athleticism and why he was drafted, for that. You know what I mean? Like it's just looks good. And here's another one against Bradley Chubb, and I'm telling you, he had a day against Bradley Chubb. You know what I'm saying? He had a day. And here's another one. Good set. Bradley Chubb tries to come on side, just knocks him to the ground. And you can see that was another great set for him. And you'll see it again in slow motion here. That was just an awesome throw from Derek Carr, by the way. It was an awesome throw in between right in front of the line, right over the linebacker. Beautiful throw. But you'll see right here again. Good punch. Good. He's not bending. He's not going forward like he usually does. Sticks with it. Gives Derek Carr enough time to release that ball. Awesome. And you know what I'm saying? Like he did this all game in the pass protection. And this is my favorite one. Watch this off the spin move. Look at him just take that spin move, push that guy out of the way. Like it wasn't even matter. Even if Derek Carr was still there in the pocket, Derek Carr just got a slight little movement and he would have had a great pocket. Look at just with the spin move. Beautiful stuff. It was awesome game, man. I really like seeing that. You wonder if he can duplicate that at right tackle, though. That's what you're worried about, because if we need a right tackle, that's the kind of the place we need to worry about is he going to be able to do that as a right tackle, because the left tackle is very, very natural. But let's get into Gruden midseason adjustments, okay? Now I'm going to show you guys some plays that we ran earlier, and then I'm going to show you what they look like against the Broncos. Okay, so this is an RPO. We've seen this a lot with Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow. They run this over and over again. They run this play a lot. So we'll see it week 1. It worked perfectly. Got some yak, right? Beautiful stuff, right? So they got the RPO going there, right? And you see that sometimes they hand this ball off, sometimes they don't, but they like to go to Waller on that. And so you see that a lot. You see this play, but this week they try to run it again. Same look. You see the same motion, same kind of look. Derek Carr's gonna bring him over. Same kind of formation. Nope, locked up. Everybody's on it, right? And then Derek Carr has tried to make a play, so we're getting to that point where that we got to last year, when teams are starting to figure out what the Raiders are doing, right? And he adjusted well in the second half. He did, and I appreciate that. But what we like to see, that Derek Carr is using his legs when these plays are dead, which is a big thing. Which is probably going to be the difference between this year and last year. Is that when these plays are dead and he's using his legs, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So now let's go to another one. We got the Yankee concept here, right? Yankee. We talk about this play a lot. One of my favorite plays in any playbook in the West Coast system is the Yankee concept. So we got this play right here. Go ahead and run it. You guys see this all the time. Sometimes they hit the dig. They hit the dig against, the Chiefs. They hit the post against the Chiefs. Like they love this play. This is an awesome play with Brian Edwards. This play got hurt on. Kind of disappointing, but it was just a great play. Watch this movie puts on Gilmore. It's amazing. He's about to make Gilmore do the splits. I was so excited for Edwards, and Aguilar just basically took his job after this. He's not getting the job back. Let's keep it real. But yeah. But that was a big play by Edwards, and now we're going to see the same play against the Broncos. Yankee concept, same thing. Oh, this is locked up everywhere, and Derek Carr has to check that ball down. So, it's interesting, some of these things that the Broncos are doing, because the Broncos, they played some good defense in the back end, and Derek Carr didn't have a lot of things open. He had to make some plays with his legs because plays just weren't there. And we kind of noticed that against the Chargers, they had to make some plays with his legs too, because I think what we're starting to see at this point is some of these NFL teams are starting to catch up to Gruden. So we got to get back to the point where Gruden has to be more creative this next 6 weeks. Okay, we got 6 weeks to end the season. We, we're saying we are playing 9 games. Yeah, so we got 7 games left, right? We need John Gruden to. He's got to try to add some wrinkles. He's either got to flip that play other way around. He's either got to, like the RPO play. He's got to do something different with the RPO play. Like you just can't keep doing that same RPO play. And at the past time, the Chiefs probably are. I mean, they probably use that RPO against the Chiefs too. I mean, I don't remember them doing it that play, but like it's just things like that are on tape. I mean,
Yeah. We've seen that RPO quite a bit. Question:
Yeah.
Have you seen them run a front side RPO, or is it just on the backside?
Just backside.
Just backside RPOs.
Just backside, bro. Like
yeah.
Another team that sniffed it out really well was the Bucks. I don't remember if you remember that play. Carlton Davis, like
right. That was the RPO. Okay, yeah.
Yep. That was that same play. And Carlton Davis sniffed it out. Right. He was guarding Renfro, but he left Renfro and went with Waller. See, it's out there, bro. Like some of that stuff is out there. Some of that stuff is a lot of these plays that they've been running, I've been charting these plays, man. Like, some of these looks that they're doing, I mean, they're giving out a little bit of tells.
It's getting repetitive, right?
It's getting repetitive at this point.
Now, what I'm going to be really paying attention to on Sunday is going to be how much they are setting up the Chiefs. Like putting some of this stuff on tape, especially like you saw all that stuff in the fourth quarter. Like, the game's decided. They're just, but then they're running all the, like I see Darren Waller shooting off the backside on that RPO right in the fourth quarter. So I think it's gonna be interesting. I think they might have something up their sleeve that they're just trying to lay the foundation for, the groundwork for. But yeah, we'll see, because that's really what the problem has been with Gruden last 2 years, is that the offense falls flat in the last half of the season because teams are ready for him.
And
that's gonna be the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's a history thing too, bro. Like it's not just. I mean, he's 20 and 35 in December. It's like it's a thing. You know what I mean? He just used to have Rich Gannon. He used to save him, and it looks like if Derek Carr's using his legs, he might have Derek Carr to save him. Or if because like I said, like the play to Ruggs, where Derek Carr made that play on the fly. You know what I mean? Like he did that up to Ruggs, and Ruggs made a nice little play. It's plays like that. You know what I mean? That Derek Carr might have to make if this offense gets repetitive, which we just hope it doesn't. So like the last couple of weeks, I'm just saying the passing game has been pretty locked up. The Chargers were pretty locked up on the Raiders. Like there wasn't a lot for Derek Carr to move. These guys aren't getting open like they used to. He's either gonna have to start using the seams like he did at the end of this game. Like the second half, he started attacking the seams with Waller. I think they got to do that more, because I was telling you that they're playing too high, man, on like first down, and then they're doing a little robber stuff. They're doing robbers, take away the digs, a little single high over top of Ruggs. They're doing too high, man underneath. So the seams in the middle of the field has to be attacked at this point, because I mean that's what teams are going to start doing. They are a little scared of the deep ball at this point. Derek Carr has been throwing deep enough that
keep them honest. It's keeping them honest.
They're honest.
Yeah.
And that's why we're seeing the running game take off, because teams are deciding to take away the pass, and they're just running the ball all over them, right? Because there's nobody in the box anymore. So since the boxes are open, I mean, like saying too high on first down was crazy to me. I was like, they're running too high on first down with Josh Jacobs in this running game,
right?
With John Gruden knowing his tendencies, that means there's something there. They're terrified. They're backing up, right? So since they're backing up and they're scared, it's opening up the running game. But the passing game has to adjust too. I mean, they're not. What if somebody stops the run? What if somebody can play too high and stop the run
from a light box? Yeah, that's what. I mean, that's what the Buccaneers are able to play with a lighter box and stop the run.
Yeah.
I don't know necessarily if the Chiefs are built like that, but what you were saying about the Chargers and then the Broncos kind of, taking away the deep passing game. I think both those teams are built similarly in their secondary. So they don't play the same coverages though, but I think they are built similarly in their secondary, with good, cover corners, veteran savvy guys, good safeties, rangy safeties. So I think that, and the reason why you see them built like that really is to take away the Chiefs, or to try to contend with the Chiefs. So I think that's like they're ready to take away like that's going to be the strength of their of their defense really at this point. But what really I was like so impressed, like the most impressive part of it was not the run game for me. It was because I watched the Denver Broncos defense. I watched them. That was a scary pass rush.
Yeah.
And Tom Cable sending in Brandon Parker, Sam Young. Who was the other guy that they brought in?
Patrick
Omame or something like that.
Yeah, Patrick Omame. Something like
And these
Sorry
guys
about that, guys.
Look, like come on. Like that part of it was crazy to me, and obviously some of that is Derek Carr using his legs a little bit.
Yeah.
It wasn't crazy this time, but it's enough. Like that was a great example. I'm glad that you added that example in there about, the RPO breaking down and then him scrambling for like what it was like 3-4 yards.
Yeah.
But
keeping him on schedule.
Keeps him on schedule, prevents like a negative play, stay ahead of the sticks. That's an important play for defeating the pass rush. Because once you get into that 2nd and 10, that's when they can start sending the house.
Yep.
Not worrying about the run, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So this offensive line's ability to pass protect with 3rd string tackles at this point is fantastic. Especially like we're talking about Bradley Chubbs and Joey Bosa's, I guess Joey Bosa was out of that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been like, we're talking about fearsome pass rushes that they're able to stop. Obviously, receivers can't drop balls, but I don't think that that's going to be an issue all year. If Darren Waller gets that one again, he's not going to drop it. Come on. I hope not.
I hope not. Right. Yeah. I mean, because Carr played really well, man. He looks really comfortable. So like, if that's what I'm talking about, that Gruden needs to make some play adjustments, and hopefully he's got some tricks up the bag for this week. So tricks in the bag. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Hopefully they're getting ready to set these guys up. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. So yeah, but the offensive performance is good. The line was good. Like I said, Brandon Parker was great. He had a great game, man. Definitely excellent. Definitely great to see that. Definitely, he's got to have some confidence now, I think. But it's just interesting. Like, will he do that at right tackle? Because if Sam Young can't go and Cole Miller comes back, can he do that at right tackle?
That's the question.
That's the real question. Because obviously, he's pretty comfortable at left tackle. I mean,
it's like a night and day difference. Like his technique
and everything, his sets,
right?
Everything is like, natural.
Oh wow, this is a legit.
Oh, this is what I used to do in college.
Tackle here. Like this is viable here. When you see him on the left side, when you see him on the right side, it's like he's a revolving door.
Yep. He looked pretty good, bro. He looked like he had potential, bro. I was
I was watching some of his sets and I was like, okay, this is legit, man. This is the real deal. So
like, bro, that size and athleticism, and if he got the power, he's resetting his hands. I was like, oh, wow.
That's mad funny.
That's why you don't draft 2 left tackles, though. Let's keep it real, especially a guy who's never played right tackle in his whole life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
it's like drafting. It's like getting a right-handed jump shooter and be like, you know what? I want you to shoot with your left hand.
But they do that though, right? NBA. They do that in the NBA. It's crazy.
They do that too.
Here's one thing I'll say.
Okay.
Is as far as like left tackle, right tackle debate, I think starting very recently, okay, you're gonna see right tackles who are like really good that are coming into the NFL. But I would say historically, and you can debate me on this, if a guy played a right tackle in college, right, there's a solid chance that he'd be a guard in the NFL. Like they were drafting left tackles. Like the left tackles are the guys who are getting drafted in the first round. It wasn't right tackles, and it seems like over the last couple of years, you're starting to see right tackles in college actually play right tackle in the NFL and be like really good at it. But I feel like it's a relatively recent phenomenon, in my opinion, because up until like maybe like 5 years ago, most of the time when you looked at a right tackle coming to the NFL, you're like, okay, is he gonna move inside? Is he gonna play guard? No, because like they just considered right tackles in college. Like if you can't be the left tackle on your college team, how are you going to pass protect in the NFL? But so I think there's some old school coaches. Tom Cable might be one of them, where he's like, I just want left tackles.
I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Way to play devil's advocate there, BD. Way to play devil's advocate, bro.
I'm not saying I agree with it. Look at Tristan Wirfs, bro. Are you kidding me? I'm not saying I agree with it. Cody Ford, that's another guy, right tackle. People were like, well, I think he's a guard, and he's been like beasting, for the Buffalo Bills. So
Yeah.
right tackles are starting to get more and more love recently in like the draft community. I think they're like considered a viable, like this is a first round tackle, especially nowadays when you see like Khalil Mack rushes over the right tackle, Joey Bosa rushes over the right tackle, Von Miller rushes over the right tackle. Like all these guys, these really good pass rushers in the NFL, they rush on the defensive left side, and it's not on the defensive right side anymore. So that's like a relatively recent shift. I would say right tackles, you need to be just as good at right tackle in the NFL nowadays. Whereas like that might not necessarily have been the case like 10 years ago. So
yeah, exactly. All right, man. So let's see what we got with this defense here.
All right, let's do it. All right, so everyone wants to talk about the turnovers, right? And rightly so. Love this play from Jeff Heath. Game ball, and then you got Carl Nassib getting in on the fun, little zone blitz, cover 3, something that I don't think that they had put on film. At least, when I went back and checked, it looked like a new look. And then, here you got, this is the kind of thing that happens when you work on things. And Nevin Lawson was able to punch that ball out, and it was like split second, on the replay. It looked like it maybe could have gone either way. And then obviously, game's over here, but Nick Kwiatkowski with the OBJ impersonation here.
Yeah.
Right. So it's incredible to see 5 turnovers. Could have been 6 turnovers. But let's just talk about this play. Okay, they're playing trap coverage, and they're sending a 6-man pressure. Okay, and Drew Lock decides to throw to the one guy who 3 defenders are looking at. It's like literally the worst possible throw for that coverage. Okay. And he doesn't even look anywhere else. He's just trying to go for the guy that everyone is looking at the entire time. So I don't think that is necessarily sustainable against good quarterback play. This is terrible quarterback play. What is sustainable though is the physicality that these guys played with. You saw these guys. Raider Nation, this is something to be super excited about. You saw the Raiders defenders putting a hurting on the Broncos. They were out hitting them the entirety of the game. Okay. And it wasn't necessarily even a play that was happening on the ball carrier. It was just all anyone can get it. Okay. So that's something that I really love. And if you think about, okay, great defenses, you're always going to think about crushing hits and physicality, right? Like that's what the game of football is all about. It's not, you can have a great scheme, but if you don't impose your will, who cares, right? So obviously we all know Raiders don't have a great scheme on defense. There's a lot of things that are probably problematic, and I think they've been shoring them up over the last few weeks. But to have this element of physicality where the bodies are hitting the floor, they're making them pay.
Mhm.
They're splashing these guys, splattering them left and right. Hitting the quarterback. Some of these are penalties, but hey, shoot, like whatever. Like they're punishing these guys.
Yeah.
And
Ugh.
these things do add up. These things do add up. And like you hit Drew Lock and it's an incompletion, and then the box score just goes down as an incompletion, but he plays like crap for the rest of the game. So like that's something to think about. This is my favorite example here. The game is over, and Jonathan Abram is still hitting Jerry Jeudy like a kill shot 10 yards out of bounds. Okay. And they're so far ahead, there's no way that they can come back. And Jonathan Abrams not taking his foot off the gas pedal there. But the one thing I will say that needs to be improved
Mhm.
is they got beaten man coverage quite a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone knows Jerry Jeudy, right? Good,
Mhm.
great route runner. KJ Hamler. We talked about these guys before,
Yeah.
and they had their opportunities where they won against man coverage. The reason why it's so important that this defense is stepping forward each week with their physicality
Mhm.
is okay. You're gonna get beat in man coverage in the NFL. It's the NFL. These guys get paid literally millions of dollars to beat
Yeah.
man coverage, right?
Mhm.
But when you have a defense that's so physical, where it's like, okay, yeah, you're gonna beat us in man coverage from time to time, but we're really gonna make you pay, and we're gonna make you reconsider if you want to keep on doing this for 4 quarters against us. I think it starts with John Abram, and the difference between John Abram and Carl Joseph. Okay, Carl Joseph was a fierce hitter, in my opinion. I think he was a really big hitter. Okay, Carl Joseph didn't have like this infectious demeanor where his attitude rubs off on everyone on the defense, right? So
Mhm.
Jonathan Abram and Carl Joseph, I think their hitting power is probably comparable, right? But Carl Joseph probably didn't make everyone else around him more geeked up, more intense and into the game. Okay. And obviously, we've talked about it before. Jonathan Abram is probably better than Carl Joseph in coverage anyways.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So I think that it starts with Jonathan Abram, and we saw, it's Arden Key, it's Nicholas Morrow, it's Eric Harris, it's Isaiah Johnson splattered that receiver on Jeff Heath's first interception. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was everyone. It was literally everyone on the defense. They were bringing the physicality literally for 4 quarters. They are so far ahead, and they did not let off the gas pedal. They're still sending 6-minute pressures. You know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
Marcus? So like, gotta love that. And I think that more than the turnovers is something that can continue to play because no team is going to get 4 interceptions against quality quarterback play in the
Yeah.
NFL
Exactly.
nowadays. No, it's not going
Four
to happen.
interceptions is a lot, bro.
It's a
It's a lot.
lot. It's a lot, right? And really, you can look at basically like all those, like that first interception to Jeff Heath
Mhm.
was a terrible throw.
Yeah. What was that?
Drew Lock sailed it. Against that one to Carl Nassib,
Mhm.
they're dropping the defensive end all game. That does not work against good quarterbacks.
Right.
Okay. Like that does not work against good quarterbacks. All right. We saw what Josh Allen did. Right. If you viewed this podcast after the Bills game, we
Yeah.
saw what Josh Allen did when Carl Nassib was in coverage or Max Crosby or something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
So quality quarterback play doesn't make all those mistakes. But so I'm not going to go and say, okay, yeah, the Raiders, they're going to get 2 interceptions and a forced fumble every game going forward. Hopefully they do keep on having more turnovers, but it's not. I think it's a volatile barometer of success in the NFL because some weeks you're just not going to have any turnovers. The ball's not going to bounce your way, whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
But the physicality that they played with, if they can keep that up, you know, that's going to erase a lot of mistakes. Every team's going to get beat in man coverage every once in a while. Every team's going to blow coverage. But if you're playing with that kind of intensity where you're making the receivers pay, that's going to be the difference between a unit that's struggling and a unit that still has a chance late in the game. So that's all I'll say.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. All right. So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. So the overall performance, I know it's really, really bad. team, really bad defense. Like, so, like, who do you think had the best individual performance in this game?
I think that this was Max Crosby's best game of the
Okay.
season.
Okay.
He let me put this delicately, because I know there's some people that think that Max Crosby is like an all-pro defensive end. Okay.
Oh, here we go.
If you don't pay attention to the box score and you watch the film, Max Crosby hasn't been super impactful all year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But this week he was the most impactful defensive lineman in the game.
Okay.
He's playing the run really well. So I think Max Crosby continues his upward trajectory, because we saw what he did late in the year last year, right? He was getting better and better as the year went on, like late in the year. So hopefully we can still see a similar trajectory for him, because he was playing the run so much better late in the year than he had been up until this week, right? Like in the first 8 games of the season, Max Crosby wasn't great against the run, or the first 8 weeks, and now this week he played the run similar to what we saw last year late in the year. So I think Max Crosby probably hit the best game for the defensive line, and then basically all the secondary besides Trayvon Mullen played pretty terrible. Trayvon Mullen, he was getting eaten a little bit out there by Jerry Jeudy.
He got targeted a lot.
He got targeted a lot. But that's the point. Like, especially against if you have a great corner, okay, you put him on the defensive left side, because against right-handed quarterbacks, that's the way that they're looking.
100%.
Now, it doesn't matter so much when you're playing amazing quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. Like, they'll throw anywhere on the field, right? But you got, a younger quarterback in the NFL. He's struggling. With some of his receivers, like, they're just like missing sight adjustments. His receiving core, for as good as they are physically talented and gifted like that, their mental processing of the game was not good. Like, they were leaving a lot of plays on the field. So I think he's contending with a little bit of that. And then because he is a young quarterback, that's his first read, is on that dominant hand side. So that's why you want to have a lockdown corner on the defensive left side, because of games like this where you're going to get targeted a lot. And you're going to be you're going to be on the man on the primary read. He had some good plays, but he also got beat a lot. Trayvon Mullen, Nevin Lawson played good. Damon Arnett played good. Jeff Heath obviously had a hell of a game. I think Eric Harris played pretty darn well too this week. Obviously, John Abram, they're using him. He's a chess piece for him. The other thing that I will note, though, is that everyone's saying the defense is better without Corey Littleton. Okay, people are saying that, right?
Oh, 100%. I see it.
Okay. They played so much dime on third down. Why would you play dime? Why does a team in the NFL, any NFL team, why do they play dime?
Because they don't believe their linebackers could play man to man.
That's the reason why you play dime in the NFL. Because you don't trust your linebackers in coverage. Okay. So especially when you look at in like the first 5 weeks of the season, they barely played dime. It was only against the Chiefs that they played dime. Right? Like, they did not get into it until they got to the Chiefs. Right?
Hold on. Did Kowalski play against the Chiefs? He didn't, huh?
No. Man,
I just stumped you.
I got a lot going on.
I don't think he did. I don't think he did either. I don't think he did.
Well, let's just make sure. So, our fans, our followers, don't hate us. I'll look that up. But while I'm talking about this,
go ahead.
You don't play dime like every third down if you think that your linebackers can cover man to man, especially. Okay, so I think that's the reason why they played. Yeah, he did play against the Chiefs.
I was wondering.
That's the reason why they got into dime, is because Corey Littleton wasn't there. The frequency, I've never seen them play this much dime. Okay, and this is not like an incredible offense for them to be doing that.
Yeah, I
Right.
agree.
Okay, so they played so much dime coverage or dime personnel, and that's because Corey Littleton isn't in, because Corey Littleton is essentially a DB out there. He's like a big, strong safety. Like that's what he does. He's a tight end, man-to-man tight end guy, man-to-man out of the backfield. So I don't think that Nicholas Morrow is better than Corey Littleton. I don't think that. You will not hear me say that. But what could be a valid argument is that because Corey Littleton isn't in the game, all right, now you're having Nicholas Morrow actually play actual linebacker. Okay. You're not saying, okay, Corey Littleton, when they motion out or running back to the backfield, we're going to get a check in, and the corner is going to play in the deep half, and you're going to play cloud corner like you're a defensive back, and make all these adjustments that they've been trying to do to take advantage of Corey Littleton's skill set. The game plan gets condensed. They can play simpler, which means they can play faster. So it is quite possible, actually, that the defense is better without Corey Littleton, but that Corey Littleton isn't necessarily worse than Nicholas Morrow. They just simply didn't ask Nicholas Morrow to be Corey Littleton. They just asked him to be Nicholas Morrow in this game, right? So they did not do any of the adjustments that they usually do when Corey Littleton is in. They did not ask Nicholas Morrow to like go on an island against a tight end in man coverage. They didn't ask him to do that. They just played regular linebacker, and then they brought in dime personnel on 3rd and longs.
Yeah.
Simple as that. So I think that it is possible, yes, that they are better without Corey Littleton, simply because they're able to play faster and not make so many adjustments. Because if you have a linebacker playing corner, that means what's the corner doing? He's got to change his role. What's the safety doing? He's got to change his role. It's not just one person who's making a change. It's the entire scheme. It's the entire defense that's having to adjust when you're trying to do that, right? So they just threw all that out the window. They didn't do any of that this week because Corey Littleton wasn't there. And you saw the result. They played faster. So I think it's a chicken and the egg argument, honestly. I'm not down on Corey Littleton. I think that the potential could be unlocked, but they did. I mean, it's not, you can't argue that they definitely played faster and more physical this week. So.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, they look good, bro. They look good. I mean, it was good just to, I mean, it just shows that they're a good team that they beat down a bad offense, right? Just good teams beat down bad offenses. No matter if they're a leaky defense. Let's keep it real. They're pretty leaky, right? So, but I mean, they did show a lot, and they showed this team. You go in there, you play a bad team, you beat them down, right? It showed me a lot. I mean, this game was not. It shouldn't have been close from the get go. I mean, if Henry Ruggs catches that ball, like, what's the score? What's the score going to be? What is this game? You know what I mean? Like, so it was a good performance all around. I thought.
Special teams. Man.
Oh yeah, I mean, dog, we can get a Hunter Renfrow. We made the jokes last time about kick returns, punt returns. Man, that it's a serious thing now.
Hunter Renfrow, and just not even the return team, the kick coverage team. Like, how many times did they pin them down?
I know,
inside the 5-yard line.
No, they need that special teams. They're gonna need that this week, bro.
Hey,
they are.
The special teams played great. Aside from Keyshawn Nixon got a holding call, right? Jonathan Abram. That is Raider Nation. That is an illegal block in the NFL. It's a recent rule change. If you're coming back towards your own end zone, you cannot initiate contact against when you're blocking against the opposite team in their head or neck area. You can't do it. Okay, that's just the rule. It's not a dirty hit. Okay, it's not a cheap shot. It's just the rule. John Abram knows it. Okay, if he just initiated contact with his hand on the guy's shoulder pad, no call. The rest would let it play. So he's got to know. You can't make that mistake. Luckily, it happened. It wasn't the difference in this game. So it's better that it happened now in a game where they ran away with the score, rather than it happening again in a close game when you really need that return, right? So they'll learn from that. It was an illegal block, but even those 2 plays where the returns were called back, the special teams was playing great. They're playing fantastic. Field position was great all game.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
I might have to crunch some special teams tape on one of these broadcasts here. You know,
Okay. Okay.
get into
Expand. Do expand to the specialties. Huh? Some real,
that
some real
episode will get
breakdowns.
4 views guaranteed.
I'm sure.
No one will watch that, but the
No,
most
nobody cares
diehard
about the punt
fans.
return, bro. Do a kicker breakdown.
I'm gonna be like, okay, this is L1, this is L2. Okay, this is on the left side. Okay, their job is right here. Look at him splitting the double team on the outside. The gunner. Look at this gunner tape. No one will care. Okay, I
Wow,
will be the only guy into it, guaranteed.
look at this gunner go. Look at the tackle.
That's what I used to do. I used to break down Cordero Patterson 4th down reps, like when he was the gunner for the Raiders and everything like that. No one cared, though. No one cared.
No retweets for that, bro. Look at this. Look at this special team.
Look at this special teams rep. No one cares about it. But look, it's real. It's important. You know, special teams, like you don't.
I know, but it's just funny.
It's rare to see like a team that's a playoff team that has bad special teams. It's got to at least be average, or in most cases, it's like really good special teams. You know that they have, right?
I mean, football outsiders. I mean, they do when they do their full team DVOA. Special teams is part of it.
Right.
So like, a lot of these teams that are like number 1 in their efficiency DVOA ratings have really good special teams too. Like if you have a bad special teams, you're not gonna be number 1. Yeah. So it's true. You're right.
Yeah. So it is important. We see this team. I think they're getting better on special teams as the week goes on. And like also, how many players were in on offense? Like total number of players that got a snap, it had to have been in close to the 20s. Like it was almost the entire roster, except for like maybe Nate Peterman and a couple inside offensive linemen. Every tight end got in the game, right? Mm-hmm. Foster Moreau was playing lead blocker at the end of the game. Every wide receiver got in the game. We go to the defense. Every defensive lineman got in the game. Raekwon McMillan was in, right? And they were in base 4-3 on early downs, especially in the beginning of the game when the Broncos were trying to run it.
Yeah.
Every defensive back got in the game. Mm-hmm. You know, it was never lost in. It was Damon Arnett. It was Trayvon Mullen. It was Isaiah Johnson. It was Jeff Heath. It was John Abram. It was Eric Harris. Okay, that's 7 DBs. They saw like time, like not just like a couple plays. Like they all saw a lot of plays. Yeah. Right. So like this entire team played. Do you play? What is that? 19 guys on defense? You know, do you play 19, 20 guys on offense?
No.
If you think that team is like really good that you're playing?
No.
You put the best 11 out there, right?
Yeah.
You're not going 20 deep. And you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the fact that those guys got those game reps, Booker got those game reps, these tackles are getting these game reps. You know, they're getting Foster Moreau involved at least as a blocker.
He played a lot of fullback.
All right,
played a lot of fullback this week.
That's important. It keeps other guys fresh, and it gets guys that you might need for a run later on in the year. It gives those guys some game reps, you know, some experience. So that's important.
Gruden's got to switch it up and get him a carry. I think just give him a little carry.
Give Moreau, a little fullback dive.
They would never think that's coming. I'm just saying.
Right.
Gotta block it up though. Gotta block it up.
gotta block it up.
Because if they will be killing Gruden if they don't. Gotta make them right, guys. Gotta make them right.
I would love to see that. But so how besides these wide receiver drops, any takeaways, because the Raiders are going to need them. They're going to need these wide receivers to make plays.
They're having trouble separating, bro. It's a problem. It's a problem.
How much they were like Broncos are like a heavy man team, right?
Yeah. Exactly. That's what it was. It's a problem. So I think teams are going to start playing cover 2 man a lot. And that's what I was trying to say. Like that is coming. So I don't know. They better get used to it, because they're going to try to stop the deep ball, and they're going to believe that they can't win underneath consistently. That's it. It's on tape. And I don't know what else to say. I think Ruggs is getting better at winning outside. That's a good thing. Like his the ball he dropped was a great rep from him. Probably
So
one of
I,
the
w-
best.
I meant to comment on your tweet that where you were showing, he got that guy stacked,
Yeah.
right? But then he's thinking about all this stuff, and then the ball goes to his hands, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's tough to put it all together. It's tough. If
Exactly.
anyone has done any kind of athletic thing and try to compete, just it doesn't matter what it is. If it's dribbling the basketball, and then you're having to like think about all the coaching points that you have to do, and it's in a live game, you realize, okay, this is actually tough to do what my coach is telling me to do when people are competing against me and
Yeah.
actively trying to stop me. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's volleyball, if it's tennis, if it's sprinting, like putting coaching points together live, like full speed in a competitive environment. That's a tough thing, especially when you're doing it against guys who are playing corner in the NFL. These are incredible athletes who get paid a lot of money to stop you. So
Yeah, for sure.
don't yeah, I see Ruggs coming around, but we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see.
it and that rep, it got me a little excited, because he starts putting that together, um, and we go further on to the season, which tells me, like, does he get better? Like, because we see
Right.
all these rookies, and we crap on rookies a lot early. Does he start to hit his stride as they start to make this playoff push? You know what I mean? Like, if he's starting to get his routes down, because I'll be honest, I mean, he probably was the only guy that was beating man coverage. They weren't always throwing him the ball, but if it was man to man, he's probably the only guy that was being a little more consistent with it. So that tells me he's getting better and he's practicing.
Yeah.
So if we hit week 13, week 14, is he going to be burning people? Maybe. Like if they, I mean, you know, God willing, they end up making the playoffs. Is he going to get hot then? It's one of those things for me when I watch him. Like, if you like just watching the rep against the Chargers where he went out of bounds, right? That was a good rep. And
Right.
then watching another good rep this week that he ended up dropping, and that's what I'm saying. He got open, used his speed, sacked the receiver. You see things like that. If he can start to learn those nuances and start to apply them, and they start to get later on the season, yeah, yeah.
It's better to end hot than start hot, right?
Exactly. And he's a rookie too, so that's what I'm saying. So
Right.
if the arrow is pointing up, right, with all his technique and everything, that tells me that we ain't seen it yet.
Yeah.
We ain't seen what we need to see. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that just that one rep, he dropped it, but I was excited. I was like, yeah, that was, you know, maybe if they lost the game, I wouldn't have been excited as a rep, but it was 37-12, so it didn't matter. So it ended
Yeah.
up being a great rep.
I think
Great rep, bro.
I think it definitely got overshadowed because Waller drops it that one.
Oh, that was a bad drop, though. That was,
Nelly dropped that touchdown in the end zone.
yeah.
And he had like 3 chances, to reel it into. So that was ugly, ugly, ugly.
Yeah.
But it goes from just those 3 plays.
Yeah.
That goes from Carr being like 150 yards. What was it? What did he end the game with, like 154 yards?
165.
165. That goes from like those 3 plays. That it turns into like 250 yards. And a touchdown. Just 3 plays where these guys just dropped the ball.
Yeah.
And we're just talking about those 3. So, the plays are there. Like, yeah, they're struggling to separate, but even on the ones where they do and then they drop it, it's like they were there. This could have been a different approach. But thankfully, the run game, it was strong.
Mm-hmm.
And we say this every week. We're a broken record. Raiders can run the ball. They can pass the ball, right? Defenses are having to pick their poison. You saw early in the year, teams were like, we're not going to let Josh Jacobs get going on this.
Yeah.
And what they do? Over the top on him, right?
Yeah.
And then after, especially after the Chiefs game, teams are like, okay, we're not going to let Henry Ruggs and Nelson Aguilar and everyone break loose deep on us.
Yeah.
And Josh Jacobs is starting to get going here, right? So it is a pick
Yeah.
your poison.
It's a pick your poison at this point.
What
It
what do
really
you want to
is.
do? Do you want to play too high and take a safety out of
The
the
Chiefs.
box? Do you
See,
really want to do
the
that?
thing is, I don't think the Chiefs can play too high against the Raiders. I don't think they can, but I
And
don't know.
stop the run, like with the light box, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because they're stopping deep pass. They're not getting beat over the top this week.
it's not going to happen again. Like they're not
No,
going to be.
no, and then they're all
No.
angry and stuff. They're all
Yeah,
upset.
they're
They're all
they're creating reasons to be upset
they're all in their
for
feelings,
sure.
bro. They didn't like that victory laugh, which is funny.
It's cool. It's fine. It's like this is like a thing. Okay, like if it wasn't the victory lap, it would have been something else. They have to do this. They have to. They have to
Yeah.
put some bulletin board material up. Raiders came in there and beat them bad, right? Like
They're up 16, bro. Like nobody's been up 16 on them all
right.
year.
So they beat them bad. They scored 40 points on these guys.
Yeah, only them and the Panthers have scored more than 20, I think, on them.
Right. So they need to have the bulletin board material. We would expect the Raiders to do the same exact thing if the roles were reversed here. Okay. And if a team beat the Raiders for the first time in like 5 years and they took victory laps over it, you better not be crying as a Raiders fan if you're making fun of the Chiefs fans crying over this. Okay. Like,
but I mean, damn, like it was Travis Kelce today. Like, did you see Travis Kelce's clip?
Yeah. It's look. I'm telling you, they have to manufacture a chip on their shoulder. They have to.
They really are though.
They have
That's
to.
what it's funny.
Like this is the name of the game. If it wasn't the victory lap, it would have been something else. It'd have been the way John Gruden didn't have a mask on and hugged Patrick Mahomes or something like that. Like I'm telling you, they would find something to put on the bulletin board. They need it for this matchup. Because they're seeing like the Raiders are they're better. The Raiders are better than what they were when they beat them.
Yeah,
they are. They're better on defense, and their run game is finally going. So it's a different matchup, and I think it will be a different game. I think it's gonna be a different game because I think Patrick Mahomes will be locked in this week.
Yeah,
and he just wasn't against the Raiders week 5.
No, he wasn't.
He was not locked in.
And the defensive game plan, they're gonna actually play how they play other teams. Let's just say that.
Yeah, they are gonna. Yeah, right. We're gonna see the regular Chiefs defense. We're not gonna see some weird, like you cover zero. No, yeah, right. Gamble on everything. We're not gonna see that. They got bit in the butt, bro. Yeah, right. We're not gonna see that this week. But then But then on the flip side of it, they're gonna run the ball. The Raiders are gonna run the ball this week.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see how they adjust to that. So one of the biggest things that I'm gonna be interested in seeing is if this dime defense continues.
Okay.
If they're using a lot of dime, how that ends up working, because the way that they played dime against the Chiefs in week 5 is not the way that they've played dime since the Buccaneers game, because the Buccaneers game, they said, okay, we're going to make defensive changes, right? And what they started doing is they started bringing John Abram down in the box as a blitzer. And then Jeff Heath and Eric Harris and Isaiah Johnson and LaMarcus Joyner, all those guys that now have had reps at deep safety and dime. All 4 of those guys. Isaiah Johnson played deep safety and dime this week a lot. Okay, so we're seeing now a different type of dime, and I think that they're going to use it a lot more. And we'll see, because their blitzing has become more effective. But they got gashed. Like, it was like literally every time they blitzed like 3 times against the Chiefs when the Chiefs like threw a downfield pass. And Patrick Mahomes had like 90 yards on those 3 plays. Like they could not blitz Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
So if they can keep on improving, and they can maybe blitz Patrick Mahomes, with Jonathan Abram and not sacrifice any coverage as a result of it, because it'll just be 3 defensive linemen and then John Abram rushing and then all those DBs back there. I think we're going to see definitely different game plans on both sides, on defense and on offense. So hopefully that's enough to keep the Chiefs on their heels a little bit. But yeah, we'll get into it in the preview show. What am I doing? I'm talking too much about that.
Exactly. All right. All right, guys.
You say exactly. My bad.
All right, guys. So
I'll cut that out. I'll cut that out, Marcus.
Okay. All right. All right, guys. We definitely appreciate you guys listening to us. You got any last words, PD?
Nah, that's it. I'm good.
All right. So definitely hit the subscribe button. Appreciate all the new subscribers, all the listeners we get every single week. So definitely love. Appreciate all the love, all the comments we get, all the love comments we guys get, all the requests, the questions. Definitely gonna do another mailbag episode for you guys here pretty soon. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, we'll do that pretty quickly here. So, but we appreciate that. And so make sure you hit subscribe, tell your friends, tell everybody about this. Follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL, at BD Williams 18. You know what I'm saying? The offensive guy, the defensive guy. You know how it works. So, you know what I'm saying? So, but make sure you hit the subscribe button, guys. Like I said, appreciate every single one of you guys listening. And we're out.
That's it, guys.
See ya.